Welcome everyone, and thank you for joining us in today's webinar. Um, Myself, Daivat, I'm working with a cloud team at Tatwik. To give you a brief introduction to all our new users, Tatwik is an authorized full-stack Google partner with Google Marketing Platform Partner and Google Cloud Partner. We are also one of the leading providers of digital analytics solutions and consulting partner for large enterprises and the unicorn startups in India, UAE, and Singapore. Today's webinar is on purchase prediction insight in remarketing campaign, and it shall be presented by my colleague Bismayy. Just a few logistics before we get started. If you have any questions during presentation, please type them into the question box in your GoToWebinar control panel, and I will bring them up at the end of the presentation. We'll try to answer as many as questions as time permits. I will be also carrying out a couple of polls during the webinar to help us understand better. We have an exciting giveaway as promised of a 500 $500 Google Cloud credit at the end of the webinar. So before uh, so let's start with the agenda for today's webinar. So first we'll be discussing about the digital journey of user data. Then we'll discuss about purchase prediction models in remarketing and how you can build purchase prediction model using Google Cloud. Then we'll discuss PredictN, which is an one of the in-house solution developed by Tatwik, and then we'll talk about the customer success stories of PredictN. So we'll start with the digital journey of user data. So taking a step back before we dive into purchase prediction model. So for any organization to implement a robust and a data-driven marketing strategy has to have this 5 phase of digital journey of user data, starting from digital data collection to data transformation to data analysis, data visualization, and data activation. Uh, starting from data collection, whenever a user lands on a web page or a mobile, organization starts with data collection. We collect the data, then we transform that data to make it useful for analysis or presentable. Then we analyze that specific transform data by running some algorithms, pulling in machine learning and artificial intelligence, and taking care of our organizational insight. And then we visualize that analysis or visualize the data that we have collected, transformed, and analyzed. This step is specifically useful for internal stakeholders within the company to understand the user behavior, or to understand what is going on within the organization, or what is the behavior of the user, specifically to understand customer persona. And then we activate the data in different marketing, remarketing channels. So this is one of the important steps, because unless and until you activate the data or you act upon the data, the collection, transformation, and analysis phase would not be useful. Because once you collect, transform, and analyze, and then you do nothing on the data, then it would not be helpful for us, or for the organization, for the organization where you have collected, where you have done so much hard work, or where you have put so much energy in transformation and analysis phase. So activation is really important. Uh, these are some of the Tatwik's solution as well as capabilities about the different phases of the digital journey of user data. So Tatwik is uniquely positioned to help our customers, our clients, to make sure that they perform each and every step accurately, where we help our clients in by providing some of our in-house solution, like one analytics, campaign sync, data layer automation, that are our in-house solution. And then we also help clients by providing consulting services to some of the Google Cloud products like Google Analytics 360, BigQuery, then Tag Manager 360. These are some of the Google Cloud products. Then in transformation phase, we help our clients in we say I would say transforming the data to make sure that it is in a presentable format by using Google Cloud Data Prep, which is one of the easy to use data transformation product. Then in data analysis phase, with the help of Google Cloud machine learning and artificial intelligence, we have developed some of the machine learning algorithms like PredictN, which we will be discussing about today, which is a purchase prediction model, like lead scoring, features attribution model, TV advert analysis, which is for analyzing your TV advertisement, then LTV, which is for to identify high value customers, as well as customer persona and user typing. As we discussed the three phases of data collection, transformation, and data analysis. And in the data visualization phase, we help customers by providing consulting service of Data Studio, by building the dashboards for executive leadership or internal stakeholders. And we have another two fantastic tools called anomaly detection and Badger. Anomaly detection is specifically for detecting any anomalies within your data, and Badger is for deep diving into any specific or to traverse the tons of data and generate insight. Badger is really useful. And in the last phase of data activation, we help clients with website personalization, by analyzing the website. Then we help them with A/B testing. We have a pretty good, robust CRO model too. Then we also help clients by providing consulting service of Optimize 360, which is another Google tool. Data and Visualize 360, which is one of the fantastic tool by Google for display and video ads. It connects around 70 exchanges of the world and can get your advertisement to any get your display and video advertisement to any user at any time. So this is the 5-phase journey where Tatwik helps clients with its different consulting expertise and its solution. Uh, will be So the next part is purchase prediction in remarketing using Google Cloud, which will be conducted by Bismayy. Before that, I would conduct a quick poll to understand which phase of the digital journey that I mentioned, the 5 phases that I mentioned, all of our users are in. So let me activate the poll. So you might be seeing poll question on your screen, like according to you, which of the below phase below phase of the digital journey of user data has your company implemented well. So it would be great that you select different phases as we have spoken, to understand like which phase you need more help or which phase you would like to implement further. We'll wait for another 30 seconds and then we'll close the poll with you guys. So let me share the result. So we are seeing some fantastic result here. So in data collection, 67% of our users have implemented data collection very well. In data transformation, we are lagging. We have only 47% of the users have implemented data transformation very well. Data analysis, wow, it's 87%. That's really high, and that's really nice that we all are moving towards an phase where we are analyzing all the data that we are collecting. Um, in data activation, we are seeing only 33%. I think we should work on that, because as I mentioned previously, unless and until we do not activate the data, it would not be useful for us. Or lying data with no usability is just an overhead on us, where we are not utilizing that specific data. So I think now we'll move to next phase, and Bismayy will carry on forward. Over to you, Bismayy.
Hello, folks. Thanks, Daibat, for giving me this opportunity here to get back again to my favorite audience. So as you see during the digital journey that Devat was talking about, so I have been involved with some of the solutions across all the phases. So I am proud to say that I am trying to help advertisers or my clients also walk through each and every phase with some of the other solutions. And if some of us are they have come back again to one of my webinars, then they must know that I had talked about PredictN previously also. We had talked about Badger, we had talked about anomaly detection as a tool, and now we are mostly focusing on data activation part, as rightly pointed out by David, right? So let's get forward with the rest of the agenda, which is going to be a little longer than what Daibat had. So please stay tuned until the end of end of my presentation, and let's see how purchase prediction, which is quite essential at this point of time when two teams like a data science or an analytics team along with the marketing team can work in sync and get the maximum juice out of their users, and also gain the KPIs that they're looking for, right? Let's go forward. Yes. So I'll start with a meme. Do you have those instances in your marketing team? If you believe you have, then I'm sure this webinar will be like an topping on that. If you don't have, then this will help you get you some insights where you can just go back to your data science team, where you can go back to your analytics team and say, these are the data sources that I need, these are the data points that I need, these are the marketing problems that I need to solve, right? So I will talk from a marketer's perspective. So previously I used to be more of an analyst. Now I can say I am more of a marketer, because I have started working with clients to help them activate the data based on website personalizations or running campaigns on DV360 or Google Ads, right? These are some metrics. So if I talk about remarketing, let's understand some metrics or some stats that I have pulled from Respond.com. What's the average click-through rate, do you think? As they say, it is only 0.07% if you would have run any smart display or contextual display campaigns on Google Ads, right? But if you're going for a remarketing campaign, it becomes 10x. That's huge. That's like 0.7% CTR that you're getting. What's the CTA? You are getting 147% higher conversion rate. That's simply huge for a marketer who want to get the best or get the maximum out of the uh, tight remarketing budgets, right? Because most of our budgets are stuck in the search campaigns, which generally perform well for us also. But display being more of a branding campaign or more of a pull strategy campaign, we don't tend to get the results that we expect to. This is another stat that we're looking at. Website visitors who are retargeted to display ads, they are 70% more likely to convert on your website, right? That's every conversion rate of any website is around 2%, 1.5%, 3%. That's the range that we see in most of the websites. So around 97% of your people have left without doing any without doing any let's say even visiting a couple of pages or reading a couple of articles or doing a transaction. So you have that opportunity, you have to grab that opportunity and get them back, because 70% chance is that you will likely they will convert, right? This is another stat which says about particularly about an e-commerce company, where the stat is about 72% of shoppers, they haven't done the shopping carts. So if I want to get back from without retargeting, only 8% will come back. But if I do a remarketing campaign, maybe a dynamic display remarketing campaign, which is the best form of remarketing campaign at this point of time, I'm sure to get the conversion rate go up like 26%. Why is that? Even I was shared a story yesterday. It was not a story again, it was a real life thing. When one of my marketing colleagues, she was buying some fashion product from a website, and she added the product to cart, but the price was a little too high or something. She dumped it on the cart and left. Today she got an offer. She was retargeted on Google Ads on a particular website through Google Ads maybe, and then she came back to the website. She saw a different price, and she converted, as in she bought that product. So here you can see how data analysis and data activation came into pure play. Like they did a price A/B testing, they ran an ad, remarketing ad, they collected that audience using the data analysis part, and that's how the advertiser, the brand which was targeting my colleague, was able to succeed, right? So the gap, I think it's not a new thing. The gap, everybody knows. We have all the data on the visitors in Google Analytics. That's a rich storehouse of data, or any other analytics tool. We know how to create an audience. The first audience that anybody creates is all visitors audience, which is like by default created, right? Even in Google AdWords, there is a concept of all visitors or smart lists, or combined audience lists that can be built directly by default. So can we go one level up is what is a concern for us, or is what the cause of curiosity for a lot of marketers, right? Because why? Because the gap is, I'm spending a lot of dollars on remarketing, but I'm not getting my campaigns are performing on an average basis. I have low CTRs, I have low ROS, my conversion rates are poorer. Why should I even go into a display campaign if my search campaigns are doing well, right? So the context from this context, there's an opportunity also. What's an opportunity? If I could just remarket to the visitors who have who are destined, I will remove the word back, or who my product rather will revisit my website and do purchase transactions or submit their code details if I'm a lead generation brand, right? So then what happens? Like there are two parts to it. Now I'm running a campaign on a limited audience, so my ad costs are less, my CPC is less, and I'm getting higher number of conversions from them. My CVR goes up, right? Yes, this is the slide that I was wanting to put across to all our marketers, because we understand the KPI language, right? What is the CPC? What is the CPL? What is the CPS? Can I drive down using those remarketing campaigns? Definitely, yes. If I am doing good remarketing and intelligent remarketing, right? And if I'm able to drive my conversion rate and my ROS, right? I think I'm being pulled by Daivat. He has to conduct a poll. Yeah, over to Daivat. Thank you.
Thanks, Bismayy. So again, we will be having one poll to understand the remarketing pain points of the users or the attendees that who have joined us today. So I will be launching the poll. If you can provide us what are your current remarketing pain points, we can definitely talk more on that, or have an next webinar specifically addressing that pain point. So you would be uh, seeing the poll question on your screen right now. I would encourage all the attendees to participate in the poll. That would provide us the maximum learning out of this webinar, and also what our attendees expect from us, or what is the current market scenario. Let's see what results we have got. So as of now, we are seeing 23% of our users has a high CPC. Another 23% says inaccurate audience targeting is the pain point, uh, and low campaign conversion rate or CTRs is pain point for 54%. So I think this is the pain point across the industry, and definitely purchase prediction would definitely help us with this addressing this pain point. So I think Bismayy can continue on the types of purchase prediction model. Over to you, Bismayy.
Right. I think the poll results says the truth, naked truth, right? So let's see in the context of remarketing, how can purchase prediction models help us, or how can actually machine learning, the sexy word or the kid on the block, how they can help us to uh, better remarketing or intelligent remarketing? So if I talk about a few purchase prediction models, there can be clustering, there can be propensity, or there can be collaborative filtering. These are normal industry terms. Just to talk about, most of the marketers, we work on creating clusters, right? We want the highest average order value customer, or we want highest LTV customer. We want the customers who come from a particular geography or particular buying a particular product category, right? Based on that, we can structure our remarketing campaigns. We can build different types of campaigns for each of those segments. Then there is a propensity model, which where machine learning actually comes into picture. The brainy data scientists sitting in your team, they can build in some models where they can predict which of those customers have the highest propensity to come back, and so that you can run your remarketing campaigns at a good at a lower CPL or CPA. You can, the use cases can be whether they want, whether it can be a buy, it can be a fill a quote on your website, or which of these users are going to uninstall, let's say, your app, right? Collaborative filtering, again, it's a very normal industry term, where we are trying to find out which of the users, which of like if a particular customer has bought a particular product, so can I create a pattern so that I recommend the similar kind of products to another customer who exhibits almost the same pattern, right? So which you can help in doing more upselling and cross selling. It can be a product recommendation, it can be an item recommendation on your website, it can be content, it can be discount offers when you're running different campaigns. So all of this can come under collaborative filtering. So in this webinar, we are mostly going to talk about the propensity model. So I'll jump right into a propensity model where the machine learning plays the major role. So again, as I said, this webinar, we would like to get our hands dirty into each and every details and not keep it as a black box, right? So what are the prerequisites that we need to have while we are going to do a prediction model using the Google Cloud architecture? Okay, so first and foremost is, do you have the API access to your web and app analytics tool or CRM tools? It can be BigQuery, it can be Google Analytics, it can be AppSplat, it can be Salesforce CRM. So you will need this API accesses, right? Because these are your data sources which you want to integrate onto your BigQuery or your Bigtable databases. Then comes, you need to have a Google Cloud project where you do the workflow automation of the entire pipelines. You will build your machine learning models, host them on certain server instances, and also do the reporting of the entire campaigns that you are running, right? The third part is the advertising platform, which you currently have. So you need to put down some budgets. Let's say out of $10,000 that you're spending per month, can I put down some $5,000, or let's say $2,500 to start with for my remarketing budget? Okay, you need to have better creatives, whether it's a display creative, whether it's a text ad type creative, whether it's a dynamic display that you're going to run, whether it's a native ad creative, which or a video creative, right? So you can use either Google Ads or the Display and Video 360 as your advertising platforms based on the type of Google Analytics that you have. Fourth, and the most important priority, which is currently missing in today's marketing landscape, is capabilities in data science and cloud engineering. So what happens is, like most of the teams, we have our technical teams, but they are mostly engrossed in developing the product rather than helping us deliver the analysis or delivering the activation of the data that they have analyzed. So the data science team and the marketing team usually do not get into sync to solve the marketing problems, which causes a disparity, or which causes a loss of the entire data that we are storing, we are collecting, we are paying for that, right? So we need to have that data science expert in your team, who is good at coding in Python, who's good at building pipelines on Google Cloud architecture and stuff like that. Okay. So there are a few other slides that I'm going to follow, which are mostly from a data scientist point of view, but a marketer also needs to know that, right? If you're a marketer, you can always talk to a data scientist and say, these are the activities or these are the sequence of activities that we need to go ahead with. The first one is obviously data extraction, where we are extracting the data from different sources and you're storing them in the BigQuery tables, which is generally the big database. Modeling, where you are transforming your data using the Google Cloud architecture, where you can use Data Lab. Data Lab is an alternative of their Python Jupyter notebooks, which a data scientist uses. Data prep is for exploration and visualization of the data, so that you go forward and know which kind of attributes, which kind of variables are actually affecting your conversion rate of your visitors, right? Cloud ML, obviously, it's a scalable engine that Google has provided to us. It's a gift, I would say, because it takes care of a lot of machine learning processes where it comes to scalability and running it smoothly and at a faster pace, right? And the compute engine, this is another server instance which can help you host your entire cloud architecture and run the processes. So predictions, then the third part, which is important because that's where the lists are going to come out. The list can consist of a client ID as a unique identifier. It can contain a phone number or an email ID, but unfortunately those are PII information, so you should not be using them. So you need to have some other identifier like a CRM ID, for example, or a customer ID, right? And then comes the last part, which is the reporting. Now that everything is there, you have started the campaigns. Now you want to report the performance of the the campaigns on your Google Data Studio. Again, it's a brilliant free tool by Google, which every marketer should be using it for delivering reports to the top management and the like. Yeah. If I go dip into the second part of the process where I was talking about the model building, a data scientist, if anybody is a data scientist in the audience, they will definitely relate to this, where these are the four phases that generally they go ahead with, where they first explore the data and select the features. What is the feature here? The feature, as I said, it can be a behavioral data of an user. It can be such like whether the user is coming from a particular source medium or not, whether the user, how much time is the user spending on the website, whether the user is coming from acquisition, let's say Google organic channel, or whether it's coming from a paid campaign channel, right? Then we do the pre-processing part, which is again more important. So the data exploration and pre-processing is where the brain of the data scientist comes into real test. Okay, so if there you have to clean and transform the data so that your models understand how the data can be acted upon. So that's the part where the data scientist has to sit with the marketer, understand the business from a business point of view, and do the pre-processing of our feature engineering of the data. Then comes the model training. This is becoming easier and easier nowadays, considering most of the models are being now open source, like TensorFlow, which you can host it on your cloud ML. You can push in your data. You do your own brain work in tuning the hyperparameters, suiting to the accuracy of the models, and you are done. Boom. So then comes the validation, where now that the training has been done, now comes the actual power play, where you are going to start sending in your predicted audiences to your marketer, right? To your marketing team as a data scientist. So you need to evaluate the models, understand what is the threshold, what kind of audience list do I need to send across, and you compute all the performance metrics accordingly. Right. So now comes the final stage, where during your reporting stage, now you have to use these predictions, right? The generally predictions comes here comes the output is generally in form of either a CSV file or a JSON file, which is about high propensity audience lists. There you can send it to Google Analytics. From Google Analytics, the audiences can be easily sent to Google Ads or Display and Video 360. and then you can start running your display remarketing ads or any other campaigns, remarketing campaigns that you want to run based on any product, based on any requirement that you might have. Okay, so yes, now that we have understood a little bit about purchase prediction in a remarketing scenario, I would like you to introduce you to one of the products, which is PredictN, which is a C4M solution, the cloud for marketing solution, where we are using our own cloud capabilities and our marketing capabilities along with the data science in between to help advertisers boost their remarketing ROIs, right? So let's go into it. It's going to be an interesting part from here onwards. Less of technicality and more of business side is what I would say. So what's this predicted model? Again, it's just a machine learning model that is going to that generates audience segments of qualified visitors who carry the highest probability of getting converted as a customer. So you can you get that particular set of qualified visitor list that you can use in your remarketing campaigns and make wonders with the KPIs, with your KPIs or campaign KPIs. So I am just trying to highlight what kind of business cases that we are trying to solve using PredictN. So if you are an e-commerce website, if you want a remarketing audience list, we do that. If you are a lead generation website like an insurance company or some company like us, where we want people to submit their lead details on our website so that you can contact them, we do lead scoring for them. Churn probable app users, where because most of the advertisers now have a lot of apps and they have been spending a good amount of money on acquisition campaigns, they definitely want to retain these users. So can I just predict which of this segment is going to uninstall my app so that I can prevent them using certain remarketing tactics? For a publisher, if you're a publisher, we have something called viral success ratio of articles prediction, where based on different article behavior, different article behavior, success ratio on your websites, past articles, we can predict so that you can allocate your paid budgets, whether you want to remarket it on paid mediums like social mediums, or you want to go ahead and push it using your affiliate networks, right? So what's the overview of PredictN? Obviously, now that I've been talking about this repeatedly, it's just to build more relevance to the topic is these are the data sources that I'm looking at, the Google Analytics, it can be BigQuery, it can be Salesforce CRM. These are the major data sources that we have been using. What kind of data points that we do, that we use in the model is the users acquisition related data, the channels, the browsers, the region, the whether they're new user, returning user, what kind of devices did they come from, whether it's a mobile or whether it was a desktop. Behavioral data, as I said, what time did they came to our website, what was the amount of time did they spend on the website, what kind of pages did they visit, XYZ. And then comes the transactional part, where if the user has already done a transaction previously, or whether they have added to something to the cart, or whether they had done any micro goals, let's say submitted lead details previously, or downloaded a PDF, or looked at one of your client testimonial videos, right? Then comes the marketing platforms. So where you can push your data, your visitor data, either to your email campaigns, or run your Facebook ads, or your Google ads, or their display video 360 platforms. Okay. This is the architecture that we are currently working on with PredictN. It is similar to the architecture that I was showing a couple of slides before. So the data sources are Analytics DB. It's a CRM database. We can pull data from both these data sources. We host them on Google. You use Google Compute Engine to run all these cron jobs. Then the model, it is trained using TensorFlow, and it is hosted on the Google Cloud ML engine. The predictions happen. The predictions is usually a high intent remarketing list of unique users, which then either we can send it to GA. From GA, we can run your remarketing campaigns. If it is a call center or a lead scoring process, we will send this data back to your database, which is your CRM database, and where it can be sent to your call centers saying this is the lead, this lead has higher priority, and you should call them so that they can convert or they can do a transaction very like with a higher probability than others, right? So the architecture that we are, it is quite generic in nature. The customizations generally feature within the model itself. Apart from that, we are making use of the best use of Google Cloud architecture to automate this entire process, to smoothen and fasten the entire prediction cycle and the output generation, and also sending the data or the audience data back to your marketing platforms. Now, I have been talking about the architecture. I've been talking about what kind of product is this. I believe most of us have already understood what's the impact that is coming out of this PredictN model, right? Yes, it is ROI or ROS. This is the performance driver that we are hitting on when we run a PredictN model for you. So we will get you that increase in your ROI or ROS, will increase your conversion rates, which was a problem I think that Daivat was talking about when as per the poll results that came out. And then your ad cost is now reduced. Yes. Now we can go back. We can go and try to check on a customer success story. Before that, I am being pulled by Daivat. Do we have a poll, Daivat? No. Okay. Sorry. Yeah. So let's continue our story. Let's get into a customer success story that we have recently published, and we did a video interview with the client as well. So it is Eureka Forbes. Eureka Forbes, I think most of us know that one of India's leading water and air purification companies in India. So their objectives was how can we run more of targeted remarketing campaigns for getting more quotes for for the water or air purification products. Since they have been using Google Analytics quite efficiently until now, they wanted to utilize the power of free marketing from there. While the major KPIs they were looking at is lower cost per demo and conversion rate of the display campaigns. Yes. So this is the performance that we got once we ran the EFL campaigns, the PredictN campaigns for them. We got around 30% higher conversion rate, 37% lower cost per demo, and 41% lower cost per click. Woohoo! So these are really interesting success metrics coming out from a remarketing campaign when we start comparing against normal smart display campaigns or normal remarketing, audience remarketing campaigns. So a purchase propensity model, whether or not hosted on Google Cloud, can actually give you this kind of numbers, this kind of KPIs, which your top management is asking us for, right? So the approach, in short, it was we extracted around 3 months of data from GA and modeled the PredictN to generate the list. This list was then imported back to GA account, and we created audience segments on them. Finally, the client's marketing team, who had good experience of running the campaigns, they exported the segments to Google Ads and ran display remarketing campaigns. So this success was quite, I think, enthusiastic. We got an enthusiastic good success response from the client's marketing team as well, and the client's top management. And we're continuing to run more and more remarketing campaigns for them using more customized models. That's the beauty of this purchase propensity models. It's nothing like a black box. If your data science team and your marketing team is working in sync, and you are delivering it in-house, you can still know which are the parameters or which are the target goals that you need to consider while building your models. Based on that, you can create audience lists, and those audience lists you can use it for your different remarketing campaigns. Correct? Yeah. So Okay, so I think I am at the end of it. I was looking to go along on and on, but now it's time for Daibat to catch up with you guys on the remainder of the presentation. Yeah, back to Daibat. Thank you.
Thanks, Bismay, for a wonderful explanation about the purchase prediction. Apart from, we'll take questions after this, but just to mention, apart from giving a $500 Google Cloud free credit, we are also giving away free consulting audit from our Google certified engineers. So I just want to let know that how many of you are interested in conducting a free audit by our team for your remarketing campaign. Fine, we'll move towards question. So Bismay, we have got pretty interesting question. We can go one by one. So Jacob is asking, how do you use TensorFlow?
Hi, Jacob. Yeah, definitely. That's a question I think my data scientist would answer rather than me. But just to give you a context, we use deep learning algorithms that are hosted on TensorFlow open source platform. So you can write your own algorithms, or you can use any deep learning algorithms that are already existing, and you can just put them back. Like you can work on them on using the TensorFlow's entire source code, or you can also use Keras if you want. But that's completely relevant to the problem that you are trying to solve. You can actually use random forest for that matter as an algorithm. So, and all the entire hosting of this machine learning algorithms or the models, it can be done on either compute engine, or you can do it using the cloud ML, which is a better product, obviously. Yeah.
Okay, so we have another question from Vriddhi, which is I think a legitimate question. Where what is the accuracy of the model and ROC?
Again, that's an answer which is very much dependent on the data that we have gathered and pre-processed. We will obviously work on getting our metrics are not ROC AUC. Generally, we that's the first metric that we look. Rather than that, we should always look at the F1 score, which gives us about the harmonic mean or the precision and the recall. Because that are the metrics that can help you know whether you are actually giving more false positives, or are you losing out on some of the false negatives, right? So I believe you understand the data science language. I'm sorry if there is a marketer who does not get hold of that language. But in a confusion matrix, there are certain metrics that we look at when we are trying to test the model's accuracy. Again, definitely when we are running let's say a logistic regression model, or let's say a random forest model, the model's accuracy or the model's F1 score might be higher. But you'll also need to consider that from a business point of view, how much audience list do you need to target in your remarketing campaigns. Based on that, you will have to take the thresholds accordingly. You can take a 0.75 threshold, you can take a 0.8 threshold, you can lower down the threshold to 0.5 to get a bigger size of audience. Again, as I said, the call should be from both the marketer as well as the data scientist. The data scientist will always go for higher accuracy models, right? Yeah.
Okay, we have a third question from Robert, who is asking, what features are usually strongest predictor of purchase in your experience, mostly in e-commerce, but other examples are welcome too.
Yeah, very good question. Uh, so what we have seen is in an e-commerce scenario, if I take the biggest predictors that we have found are usually the device categories, which are mobile again is the highest contributor there, or a desktop, mobile or desktop as the device categories. That and the second is obviously what was it, whether they had added a particular product to cart or not. So this event that is generally tracked by every analytics tool, and the device category, and the third is whether they have come from an organic channel or whether they have come from a paid channel. uh, these are the three main predictors, I would say, which kind of impact the model's performance quite a bit, or the model's predictor, the target variable mostly. Yeah.
Thanks, Bismay. One question from Vakar. It's about how much time does it take to implement and then start giving out the result?
Yeah, Vakar. So uh, generally, if the data sources are already ready, I think it usually takes us 7 to 10 days to deliver the predictions, because a couple of days or four days generally get spent in understanding the data and doing the feature engineering part, which were, as I was talking, which are the most important parts of the process. And then the next couple of process of the training and the validation and the predictions usually takes lesser time for us. So around 7 to 10 days, I would say, to get you the output. After that, there's a period where the marketer and we both of us need to use that particular predicted audience list in one of your remarketing campaigns and see the actual performance of the campaign, and not only of the model. So because the model's performance is already there with us, but until and unless the campaign has started to perform, we'll never know, right? So we need to fix some budget for it, and we can run that particular campaign for, let's say, 7 or 15 days. By end of 15 days, we'll know what CPAs we are getting, what CPLs we are getting, and based on that, we can take a call whether this model is helping us going to go ahead or not.
Okay. Next question is from Jacob, where it is mentioning, it has been mentioned like, have you compared the purchase prediction performance with other classical business intelligence method like RFM, that is recency, frequency, and monetary
Yes,
model?
yes, Jacob. Actually, we can always create some statistical models per se, as you talked about an RFM model. RFM model usually helps us in building cluster segments of customers. We can always do that as a first step. But if we are going to make use of machine learning in some part where you want a better performance, and you don't want to get into a daily let's say updation of this RFM metrics, you could always it's easier, right? Easier for a data scientist to build a pipeline, build a modeling structure, and just push in data and let the machine do all the learning activities and prediction activities, right? uh, if I talk about like we can always as I said, we can always start off with an RFM model to create a high LTV customer or high RFM customer segment. We can always run a remarketing campaign on them, and if we don't get good results, then we can always get into a machine learning method, which will be more robust and scalable for us.
Okay, one more question from Shreya. Uh, she is asking, what is the propensity in prediction with respect to cloud machine learning?
I'm sorry, I was not able to understand. Could you repeat the question, Devat, again?
Yeah. So, what is the propensity in prediction with respect to cloud machine learning? So that the model that we build, the custom model. So, what is the propensity of that as compared to the cloud, internal cloud machine learning of Google Cloud?
I- I'm sorry, I am not able to understand this properly. But what I think is what he's trying to ask is what kind of activities or what kind of propensity do we see in a model that has been done on Google Cloud? Is that what it is, or uh,
Yeah, I think. Okay, she has posted again. Okay, propensity audience here refers to. Shreya, can you please type your question again? Yeah, till then we can move to other questions where Jacob is asking, can I use the purchase prediction even if I'm from the banking sector, like loan taking prediction?
yes, definitely, Jacob. I think that's a huge use case for us. It's just that it's the opposite of the model actually performs on the opposite manner, because we don't want to leave customers by predicting them as wrong or loan defaulters, right? So it is just the opposite way. Here we are predicting as many customers who have higher propensity to convert. Here we would predict the other way around, that we want as low as credit defaulters that can be predicted out of the audience. So yeah, definitely in banking sector we can use this PredictN model. It's just the target variable has to be the opposite, and we are going to look at uh, larger recall values than the other propensity model that I've been talking about in this webinar. Yeah.
And I think, Bismayy, if I'm not wrong, we are also currently working with some of the banking and insurance clients to implement this purchase prediction model, right?
Yeah. So actually, we are working on with them for a lead scoring model where we are helping them deliver high quality or high scored leads, so that their call center can call them on priority. Like they get 10K leads, 20K leads in a day, so they want to prioritize their calling of this particular leads based on certain algorithms which we have helped them implement.
Cool. We have one question from Robert, who is asking, uh, what other KPIs did you bring to customer apart from what other like gains in terms of learning we brought to the table to customers in terms of other than the KPIs that we impacted?
Okay. Uh, yes, as a marketer, I think I also like some of one of them. One of the audience was asking me about RFM models, or was asking me about customer segmentation. Definitely, using these models, now that we are predicting the high intent audience list, we can do a backtracking of this audience list on our analytics tool. We can understand the behavior of the high converting audiences, or the highly predicted audience lists. Based on that, whether you want to do website personalizations on this particular audiences when they come back to your website, with the help of Optimize and Google Ads integration. I think that's a biggest business case. Very less advertisers are using it, but definitely you should. Definitely, that's a win-win, or that's a big success case story. You can go forward with. Right, that's one. And second, I think. Uh, Second, I think the second success that a predicted model can give you is not only about your end customer or end sell. If you want to know, let's say, which of the users uh, are not going to convert, you can actually create a negative remarketing list. Okay, I think you understand what I mean, where you can remove this negative marketing list from all your campaigns, and that's how you save your ad cost. You save your wasted ad impressions, because let's say you are running a campaign on DV360, you are actually running you are wasting a lot of impressions because you're paying on CPM basis, right? So that's a big pain for us. Yeah. So I think these are the two use cases that are coming to the top of my mind right now, which we can definitely help with predicted. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we can move to the next section. For all of the questions that we have not answered, we will answer them one on one, because we'll just move to another section. We are just uh, closing on time. So I would just like to get all of your feedback about how useful this webinar was for all of you, so that we can improvise. Do you think we can really improve this, or you were expecting something more advanced or from this webinar, or you were expecting something that you can take away? I think definitely you can take away the purchase prediction model, and then you can implement using the Google Cloud credit that we are going to provide. Yeah, sure. So we'll send out we'll send out the presentation as well as the recording uh, after this webinar over to you on the email. Thank you all for joining us in this webinar, and thanks for your time. If you have any questions, queries, if you would like to understand purchase prediction in detail, or if you would like to go through the journey of your user data in detail, feel free to contact us. We'll be also sending out email. Feel free to revert back on that email for your any questions.